This HP 83000 small form factor PC cost me just £35 on eBay. There's a reason for that, it's old, but it does have an i7, a GPU, 16GB of RAM and an SSD. Can we play games on it? Probably not, but we'll damn well try anyway. My name's Andy, and this is Andy's Tech, and we've got a HP thing today. Yes, I've been on eBay again, and this is the result. The reason for this being in existence in my life is someone I know wanted a cheap PC for their son to do basic tasks, homework and stuff, and to play some Roblox as well. Now, part of me should have brought an 8th gen tower, even if it was just an i3, and doubled up the RAM, and he'd probably have been good to go. But this little find was just too hard to refuse at the price it was listed for, so I snapped it up. Now, I know we take a look at the lower end of tech on this channel, but I do build some pretty nice modern systems for customers, so if anyone would like me to take a look at some more current components, please let me know in the comments down below. To be honest, I focus more on this older stuff because I enjoy it, but alas, I digress. So what did we get for our bargain basement little system? We've got some Ivy Bridge cores, 4 to be precise and 8 threads. Being the S version of the i7-3770, we've a slightly lower base clock over the full fat version at 3.1 GHz. The TDP has also been reduced to 65 watts. Other than that, we just have the standard Ivy Bridge i7 features. There's 16GB of RAM, DDR3, running at 1600 MHz, 4x4GB sticks of OEM goodness. GPU wise, there is the powerhouse, that is the Nvidia GT730. Oh yes, it's the crappy unnamed brand DDR3 version from the depths of AliExpress or wherever these companies buy them from. Though it's not the crappy Fermi card, so a small victory. It still has driver support as well, just about. Now, this wasn't advertised in any way as a gaming system. The listing stated that these were ex-corporate, and he had about 20 in total, so I can only assume the GPU was added to provide a HDMI out at some point in its life. In hindsight, I should have brought 5 of these things, as cheap Roblox PCs seem to be a thing at the moment. Not my cup of tea, but there we are. Customers always right, hey? The bonus in this system was it was advertised with a 500GB HDD, but upon opening the case, it turned out to be a 500GB SSD. Result: not only is it a decent sized little drive, but it will save you and me a whole load of pain having to HDD the whole video. I was going to replace the said HDD with an SSD anyway, so this is just a bonus and an expense I don't have to take. The rest of the system is just a 13-year-old HP. Front I/O is usable just about. We do have some USB 3 support on the rear. Ooh, not much to shout about in 2024. But anyway, let's throw a few games at it and see how it fares. Enjoy. Now, first up we have Dota 2, probably the lightest title I'm going to run today on our little system. And I went for 1080p low here with 60% resolution scale. And although the averages were good at 86 FPS with 1% of 46 and 0.1% of 26, the game did look pretty rough at these settings. It looked more like League of Legends on low settings. Now, it's worth noting as well that I have overclocked the card today, and I've put 200 MHz on the core and 300 MHz on the memory just to help the card out a little bit. But it wasn't too great here, it also felt a bit choppy. Probably I would recommend turning it up to something like 70 or 80% resolution scale and capping the game at 60 FPS. But that said, our first game down and we have achieved a playable experience here. So let's move on to something a little more demanding now. That is GTA 5. Remember the good old days when you could play a new release AAA title on a budget low end card? Yeah, try playing Starfield on an RTX 3050 6GB. It's not going to go down well. 1080p here with the normal settings and the resolution sliders set to 70%. We achieved an average of 40 FPS with 1% of 32 and 0.1% of 30. A pretty standard little GTA experience really for a low end system like this. Certainly I wouldn't call it unplayable. There was a few dips and drops, but then the 1% are still respectable above 30. You could maybe turn things down to 720p if you had a smaller monitor, but really for a casual experience, and this will play at 30 FPS on the Xbox One, which again isn't saying much really, but another win here today for our little potato system, and I would call this playable. Now moving up the scale of demandingness, we have Fortnite next, set to performance mode at 1080p with 60% resolution scaling. And actually we did okay here with an average of 92 FPS, 1% of 47 and 0.1% of 15. Now Fortnite is plagued with stuttering, but we didn't seem to do too bad here today. I did download the pre-streaming texture assets package, which is about 8 gigabytes, and it helps out massively in the game. GPU utilization's up there at 99%, and our little i7 3770S is putting up a good fight as well. There's a bit more headroom in that, using about 9 gigabytes of RAM, but I mean for a basic Fortnite experience, which is probably what this PC is going to be used for apart from Roblox, no problems here. I could quite happily play the game like this, and I was sort of competitive. So yeah, Fortnite again, a pass. And long gone are the days of running CSGO on a HD 5540. We're running CS2 here today, and we had to go with 720p. Everything turned to low with FSR set to quality, and even then we were struggling. Although we achieved an average of 55 FPS and 1% to 35, the percentiles as well at 30, it did feel really rough, like it was choppy, and the input delay and the latency was pretty bad. Although we are playing the game here today, I wouldn't really call this playable. There's probably the memory bandwidth issue in the GPU, as well as the system being slightly old now. CS2 does like some nice cores, and the i7 3770S should be just about playable in this game with a better GPU. You could maybe pair it with something like a 1050 Ti, but then again, is that even really worth it? So CS2, a game best avoided if you've got a little system like this. Now, we wouldn't be a budget gaming channel if we didn't bring some pain to the little PC today, and that pain being in the form of Cyberpunk 2077, which I just had to test. Now, I was greeted with this black screen upon starting the game, and until the part of my brain that actually worked clicked in, I realised that you cannot run Cyberpunk with FSR enabled, or it just doesn't work on lower end cards like this. So after turning that off in the settings, we were then greeted by an average of 10 FPS at 720p with everything turned to low. 1%, I didn't even start recording the 1% and the 0.1%. They were just pretty abysmal, well below single digits. We weren't even making double digits on the average. So if you want to feel the painful experience that is Cyberpunk 2077 on a low end system like this, feel free. So that will bring us to the conclusion of the video. Now, would I recommend a little system like this? Well, I didn't really buy it as a recommendation video. Like I said, if you're looking for a system like this, it has to suit a specific purpose. And the purpose I brought it for was a basic office system to do some light tasks, homework, YouTube, etc., stuff like that, which it will do completely fine. It's nice to have the 4-core and 8 threads of the i7, even on a lower end system like this. And obviously it had to have some basic gaming function for Roblox, possibly Minecraft, something like that. And it does tick all those boxes, and it will perform admirably in those tasks. But you do have to be aware that if you are purchasing something like this, it's going to have very limited upgrade options, and you're going to get what you're getting really. Now, you could upgrade the graphics card to something like a low profile 1650 or 1050 Ti, or even a 750 Ti, just to bring the graphics power up a bit. But then again, you're spending an extra £50 to £100 on an already dead platform like this, when there are much better options out there. I mean, you can buy 8th gen mini towers now for around £60 with an i3, sometimes even an i5 and 8 gigabytes of RAM, and obviously you're getting a much better system like this. But it's still fun to take a look at older systems like this, you know, and they do still have a place in today's world, especially with an SSD drive. 16 gigabytes of RAM and a light GPU like this would make a perfect little home office PC or something for homework, which is going to be its intended use. So thank you for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this little system we purchased off eBay. Please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd love to know what your opinion is on this. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, God bless, and I'm sure I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.